Hey guys, how you doing? Here is CuAt69UsdSng's, and today we gonna play $5 games. Let's see what's going on. We have first hands versus randoms. Mediocre hands, so just limping. We want to test out these guys. We want to see their tendencies to isolate. Completed board. 3/4 bet. This is a board where we won't really battle too frequently. We have pretty high equity, and maybe with increased sizing, we'll fold an 8, king, an ace. He raised instantly, so I'll just fold. Let's see further on his reactions and sizings. 1 BB, obviously, we have odds to call. Okay, so then the small blind just check call 1 BB. Go out and check back the turn. Okay, check call half pot. So there are some 1 BB floats with rather low equity hands. Nothing particular, but always worth knowing. Definitely isolating our king queen. And again, spot where actually I don't mind even increasing the sizing with my queen 5, because on this board there are plenty of gut shots, backdoors, and it's a semi bluff where I want to throw out these high equity hands like 2 overcards and whatever. I want to prevent him calling wide, because I would need to check back the turn almost always. And I don't want to call the river prop, so I think increasing flop size does the job. Small blind flats, and 2 Broadway board is not a great board to see bet for me, because small blind's flatting range contains mainly these hands, so I prefer just checking and going to the showdown. Half pot bet. I want to just fold. The main add cards are like queen 10, queen 9, 9, 10. Having queen in our hand makes not so many cards in our opponent's range. Add cards. 3/4, that's a little too much out of position, especially that if we hit a 7, our straight will be transparent, so we might not maximize our value when we hit it. There is also a flush draw, so if we hit a, outs that complete a flush, it might scare out our opponent. So 3/4 open-ender, especially that will be visible after we hit it, I prefer just folding. Okay. King 7. Okay, and our opponent just checked it through with 5 high. So it's pretty important read that he just but it seems like this guy is just a pacifist, right? He just checked it and checked it through with a 5 high. So I think previous half pot bets from his side might be just pre-value oriented. Click 3 bet, definitely calling. Cannot afford the jam. 1 BB, so 2 Broadway board. Sounds interesting candidate, some interesting board to check raise for a bluff. We don't have much info, but definitely that was a close one. The board is pretty dry. It's pretty hard to call the check raise. Probably I would prefer having at least a 10 or a 9 that would limit number of these draws that would continue versus check raise, or at least a king high. Okay, our opponent made a call, so most likely on the turn, the calling range is a flush draw, maybe some queen 10, a jack. I think these would easily continue if I bet 5 BB, so definitely going with that sizing. And obviously, not many more to do on the river. I'll just jump topper. Penning king 8, especially versus an opponent who seemed to be rather passive. Check calling our second pair. That's close when it comes to dunk betting. I think I actually like it. I think half pot does the job. There are still these plenty of gut shots that that our opponent would just check back if we check. Okay, now the jack is the main hand that would call. There are plenty of misdraws, and I think it might be interesting. I think even 1BB might induce our opponent to maybe raise bluff with his misdraws, especially when we block with 6-9. We block these. We block these second, third pairs. So maybe 1BB, 1BB, 2BB. If he had such a low sizing, low stack size. What is interesting, this CK guy, who I thought is a more of a pacifist, he made turn raise all in versus 75% probe. Right, so on one hand, he seemed to play pretty solid, passive. Then he made his stack size, so definitely seems like maybe he's bored, maybe he's tilted, maybe he wants to play it back. He's capable of doing weird moves. Taking down versus sit out. 7-4. Okay. Came back. But I think we can play around 65-70% from the button when small blind is sitting out. So it's on the borderline. Five, six, checking back. Just the half pot float. Okay, pretty dry structure. Our opponent leaned to pre-flop, so there are not many gotchas like ace queen, ace jack, queen jack. Probably it's not there, so pretty dry structure. I want to check it back, give my opponent a chance to hit a gut shot or whatever. Okay, and I think half pot is the sizing. It's still a 7 is going to call. It will build cool SPR on the river. I think half pot, maybe jack 9s, jack 8s, queen 9s would still call. Okay, check, check. Lots of people would already fast play on this turn, so we're gonna delay and jump the river to put maximum pressure on 8s, 8-6s. Okay. Okay, we check call the topper. First noting. Non-probe turn. Topper. Flash draw. Raise spot. In such a structure, I think I just prefer betting 1BB, usually to give it up. There are still queens, jacks, even aces, 20BB plus, so I want to check it. 2BB, that's definitely in the range. I mean, low aces or even strong queens are possible, so I just give it up. Then we be effective. Not many kings in small blind slimping range. Many of them would intuitively just open shove. So we're having a queen that blocks some additional gut shots. I think it's a cool light check raising hand. Bad. So ace on the turn. Our opponent's range is mainly 8, 5, maybe some gut shots. So I don't want to increase the sizing too much. I want to allow these weak hands to still call. Ace 10 7, not many aces in big blinds range, so definitely I want to battle frequently. And as I want to battle frequently, I'm completely okay with decreasing the flop sizing a little bit to make the calling range a bit wider and simply battle more frequently. Okay, he check call, jumped. So wrapping something like 10-6, 7-6, maybe 8-9. I definitely don't want to call with the queen high, so just folding. Especially that this guy was limping bottom three-way. So I expect him to rather do it, to rather slow play something than not to. Okay, third board. Most of the time we have best hands, sounds like. Betting twice as a thin value, slosh block bet to check the river, go to the showdown is the way to go. Versus recreational players just jamming versus regular players who would raise more light hands with higher VKP. For sure, we could 3-bet normally. Check raising, ace king 4 with the bottom pair. Not many aces or kings against similar logic 10 BB. Also plenty of random, plenty of actually unpleasant cards or over cards to our 4 would come if we just call. So raising the as the equity. In PX spot, plenty of overcard plus gutshot or pair plus gutshots. I think it's actually a cool structure to increase the size. Even maybe if there was a flush draw, for sure to pot size bet and jump the turn. Without it, I think 3/4 does the job. Bottom limper bets 1BB, we just call, and definitely versus bottom limpers want to take the initiative and start donking. I don't see anyone folding two-pair here, and I think rarely a king. You know, this is like a random guy. So okay, now and value betting these. Value betting these two pairs. I think around 3/4 is the sizing. One BB, three-way. Not calling these, especially in a three-way. Heads up, we could consider calling because then we have opportunity, for example, to river probe and try to at least win the hand without the showdown. But versus random guys, just or versus two guys just folding. There were some link folds before. He played high VPIP heads up, so definitely I don't mind isolating our bottom range. So he checked the turn. Most likely only value could get is from 10, so full size betting. I mean, you never know, your opponent could just call random hands. This guy linked bottom with 9s, so pretty important. Okay. And that we don't really want to barrel too often, so I'll increase the sizing to 1.5 and give it up. Left table, again with the ace on such a structure where I expect our opponent to have plenty of these random broadways, not really a queen, not really a 9 in his flop calling range. But a small bet on the turn with the plan to check the river. I think this is paired flop won't really be river probed light. So I prefer just betting small the turn, picking my sizing, not exposing myself versus a big river probe. That's always uncomfortable to call. Okay. Check, check. I don't see many queens, so definitely on the board with overcards and open-enders. To my per pot size bet sounds sizing that gets max value. And now we split with other 4s. We beat only 3s, and there are missed 5s, missed 6s. So it's between betting or check calling. I think I'll check call all of my opponent to bet his misdraws. Okay, king 3. So yeah, we lost value a little bit, but nothing terrible. Check, check, check. We're back to jack. Okay, it was a large bet, but I think still we can battle around the half to throw out these random ace highs. He called, so it seems like a flush draw or a 9. So actually this river is pretty cool to throw out, try to throw out these 9s and miss flush draws. Happens here. Ring raise, 1 BB, 1 over bet jump. Okay. That's interesting. So most likely we're bluffing the wrong guy. 1 BB. Just hold it. Again, 10-5. Sounds like a cool flop to bet and barrel. For a bluff. So here we want to fold mainly, I think, king highs, some fives. Okay. I think still 3/4 does the job. Okay, so this guy min raises a lot. Definitely we have to prepare wider 3-betting range. So 1 BB bet, still without the heart. I don't want to call this hand. Prefer a bit drier structure. Right, so again, third board where I don't really want to barrel too frequently, actually. So just an increased size and checking back. Queen. So king, queen, king 9, queen 9, we block it. So there are mainly 10s, I guess. Might be not a bad idea to triple this guy and fold him from a 10. I think this will be main part of his range. Oh, no. Most likely he just slow played a jack. Okay. Maybe we're just calling. It didn't raise, almost likely not many jacks. We got more draws here, so I think we can still second battle for value. I'm just going to the showdown with the ace high against the bottom limper. These guys are pretty unpredictable, so I don't really want to raise. Sorry, river prop. So range is pretty wide, so I'm definitely not folding. Check, check, and this sounds a cool situation. Blue river probe. We'll check it. Plenty of unpleasant rivers. I think I'll move my bluffs to the river, or even check it through. Okay, he checked. So most likely maybe 8, maybe 3. So we want to fold these hands. We don't represent much, so I don't want putting extreme pressure just 3 times the pot jump. You know, even though like you do it on a 3, like it's almost an obvious bluff. I mean, maybe not obvious bluff, but looks at least weird. You know, you need to have very, very strong balls to call it with like third, fourth bird. Yeah, 3-bet shoving king 7 because this guy keeps on raising. Okay, with face, dunk bet and bet. Turn gets completed, so I think we will still get a call from a topper. Oh, okay. Okay, now open shove. Check. So definitely letting the turn for value with the second pair. Flatting queen jack. What happened here? Jam, okay. We call the base 5 obviously. There are little showdowns that will help us in these close situations. Worth noting them. Okay, another open shot. So this guy not only shot twice, he called the jump. I think he's pretty like all in happy. One and a half. I think on such stack size, there are not many draws like Broadway draws or 3-4, 3-5s, not aces. So we don't need to use big sizing, I guess. Two Broadway cards definitely in favor of small blinds range. Checking it back. Okay, he checked it, so it doesn't seem like a jack or a 10. So if it's to me, I'll definitely delay. But versus beta. It's running away. Okay. Okay. Not many random 10x or jack x's. Usually cards within that board, they are connected, like pair plus gut shot or king, maybe jack, king 10, king 9, king 8. So definitely I like completed boards to pot size bet, especially that then we can just jump the turn. And the button limpers are usually pretty curious, so can get additional value. For sure with the gut shot and ace high, we can call the check raise. We have an overcard. Still, we are in position. Two x 3 bet. I think this guy who was limping, his range is pretty strong. I don't think he had, okay, this guy had also low post loop sizing. It's close. I think he'll make lots of post loop mistakes, and his range might be a bit more depolarized. There might be some random ace X's offsuited. Okay. We got the dry pot, so there's no point in bluffing that pot, as we will always play versus the button. So we have seen him calling small blind with 10 7 suited, so definitely he's a more of a sticky guy. Both size bets. Definitely floating. And this turn obviously opens these ace highs gutters, so they will call very frequently and will just triple off unless we face a jam, obviously. Check, 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 check. So I think small bet to check the river, not to give free equity to jacks and queens. So if we're playing bigger stack sizes, I'll definitely consider betting, or versus an opponent who likes to call with backdoors, but versus random guy, I'll just check call. And I like dunking the turn, so he doesn't have an option to check back his draws. Slimping versus donkey guy. Check raise. I think here our 9 might be alive very frequently. Pretty small sizing, so definitely calling. I still see the room that he'll check the river and we can win it by bluffing. I think versus 4BB not really. He left us a room to raise for a bluff. Last clip of the evening, and here we are. Okay, guys, thank you very much for spending this time on fives with me, and see you in next episodes.